we are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. That's 92.7 in the FM dial. If you're nasty, yes, we are back here with Miss Toni Simpson and James Ward here in the studio from the Gary International Black Film Festival. On the phone, we have Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., we have Jay Najeeah and Marcus Head. They are also involved in the Gary International Black Film Festival. You guys were saying that the promo, you guys want to throw to the promo?
Yeah, let's let them look at that promo. I've been getting all kind of good feedback.
Yes. So if you go to our Facebook page, right now you can see the promo for the Gary International Black Film Festival. We are going to play it real quick. It's only 30 seconds, so please stay with us here, folks.
And those who are listening just have to imagine.
Yeah.
Because there's no voiceover.
No voiceover.
Here we go. Yes. 15th annual Gary, Indiana Black Film International. I'm sorry, Gary International Black Film Festival. I always try to keep the acronym in my head. GIBIF.
And it's intentional. That GI.
Yes.
It represented both.
Mm-hmm. And the website is gibiff.org.
Yes.
If you can't remember the full name, that's also the Gary International Black Film Festival.com or gibiff.org.
Yes.
Or GaryBlackFilmFest.org.
Yeah, so 15 years. Tell me about the influence of Kelechukwu on the Gary International Black Film Festival, because he was somebody, such an integral part of the art scene here in Gary and in Northwest Indiana. So please tell us about. We don't want to forget him.
Oh, we never forget our brother. When Karen Turing, Seattle-based Gary native, director and founder for the Gary International Black Film Festival, felt that Gary needed. Why not Gary? Gary needs to be able to see film. We don't have any movie houses here anymore. So she runs a festival out in Seattle as well. And when she put the word out here 15 years ago, Kelechukwu was one of the first to jump in, all in. And so he thought, like I, that the mission of this film festival was worth putting in the work. We have a strong group of volunteers that are committed and dedicated to not only telling our stories locally, but across the diaspora. And so Kelechukwu was one of those poet laureates, if you will, spoken word artists that believed in the vision. And we honor him by presenting those who have that same aspiration. We honor them with the award named after him, the Kelechukwu Renfrey Vanguard Award. And this year's recipient of that award is a local DJ, DJ K. Caesar.
Ah, K. Caesar.
K. Caesar, yes. 92.3. He will be the recipient of the Kelechukwu, his Newt. Is that what y'all call it?
He's a Newt, or he's a captain.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know.
I went to school with Casey at Emerson.
Absolutely.
We're both Emersonians. We're both vocal majors too, so it's been good to see him over the last 20-something years sort of establish and make his name. I watched him on MTV at one point.
Right, that's what I was going to say. I remember
MTV.
when he was in that contest.
I've been very proud of watching him grow and develop and turn to one of the most integral parts of our region's entertainment, yeah,
scene. Absolutely.
So this is well deserved.
It's very well deserved, and so it's opportunities like that we keep Kelechukwu's memory alive, and we've had quite a class of recipients for that award. So yeah, he's always with us.
Right.
And the award ceremony will be the final day of the festival on that Sunday, October 12th.
Yes, yes. I wanted to get before we get to the last day. I wanted to get to Saturday, a day of discovery across two venues. So what was that? What's
Well,
that?
actually, Friday as well. You know, we're still educating our community how to fest, if you will. Everyone always say, well, what's going to be playing? Well, wouldn't necessarily know, but they are familiar with Judas and the Black Messiah. We have had early releases. Like last year, we were afforded the opportunity to screen the Luther Vandross film.
Oh yeah.
You know, Miss Don Porter was like, you know, let's put that in Gary. And so some films they do recognize, others they're learning about. But I can say, I don't know if we're a lucky charm of sort, but when filmmakers come here, they go on to great things, like a Matthew Cherry. He used to be here in our early days, and he's also an Academy Award winner with Hair Love. And Miss Ava DuVernay, our very first year, you know, the middle of nowhere, you know, and
Wow.
some keep saying, what's a DuVernay, or who is a DuVernay? But if they do their due diligence, they'll know who she is. Same with Victoria Mahoney. You know, Ron Simons, Robert Townsend is a friend of the festival. He's been here several times. But, you know, many filmmakers come here and they leave and they just, you know, they shoot for the moon.
Yeah, that's Marcus. Actually, your documentary, the Ronaldo Ray documentary,
Yeah.
is going to be screened on Saturday. And you bringing Tony Sco with you?
Yeah, Tony Sco is coming through to Gary, Indiana.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, the legendary Tony Sco. Now, Ronaldo Ray is one of those comedians. He was sort of a bridge between the old school and the new school. I remember watching Ronaldo Ray on things like Comic View and all those things. He was like an OG and a mentor to all the up-and-coming black comedians in the 90s. Were you able to get any of them, or how many of those people were you able to get to talk about the influence that he had on their careers?
I got a few. Give it away, or you want me to? Well, we got to sell tickets and let people know.
Well, just give us a
sell-
taste. You
sell-
don't have to give the whole thing away. Just give us a taste.
Let them know who's helping
Okay.
you produce this, Marcus.
Sure. So, let me, in a nutshell, Ronaldo Ray is the unforgotten icon who mentored the next generation of stars.
Mm-hmm.
He is the only person that was mentored by Red Fox, Richard Pryor, and Miles Mabel.
Wow.
And we have interviews from Red Fox, Dolomite.
Mm.
We also have Cat Williams, who's the executive producer on the project, Marla Gibbs, John D.C. Curry,
Wow.
Tim Whitley, Sinbad, Tommy Davidson. All of them are on the project doing interviews. Lunel.
Mm.
But you're going to really learn a lot about Ronaldo, that he was more than just a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He was a professor who left the classroom to mentor the next generation. Cat Williams says if it wasn't for Ronaldo, he wouldn't have 17 comedy specials.
Wow.
Marshall Warfield is on the project speaking about Ronaldo was the first comic that he met when he first got on stage the very first day. And we also have Tommy Chung. We got Tom Dreesen. And if people don't know who Tom Dreesen is, Tom Dreesen is one of the first white comedians to do the Chitlin circuit with Richard Pryor, Red Fox, and Black Ragtag, Ronaldo Ray, Richard Pryor, and Red Fox. So it's a lot of history about Ronaldo. And he was a songwriter. Superman
Wow.
Lover was one of the songs that he wrote with Johnny Guitar Watson.
Wow.
So a lot of things to learn about him being more than just bartender of Comic View and being on Friday. With the one line he had in the movie was, "You want some of this, old man?" Go.
Wow. I wanted to ask you specifically, because like I said, because you're in comedy, what do you think about the state of black comedy and just comedy in general, and how it sort of transitioned from, you know, when I was a kid growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, it was all about stand-ups. Now it's all about the internet. It's online. I see you started your own movie production studio. What has that transition been like, to go from the Vanguard being stand-up to having to go to the internet and make your own stuff and be your own boss and things like that?
Well, you just hit it on the head to answer your first question. It is more the promoters are booking people that have the following. And unfortunately, it's a diluted product because a lot of these comedians don't have what we call time to where you can sustain laughter on stage. Because when you're a headliner, you are doing anywhere between 35 to 45 minutes. And a lot of these comedians don't have that. Like some of these. Why do you think Mark Curry and Tommy Davidson are still in demand? Because these new cats can't do what they do for a long period of time. There's a few of them out there that's funny. But I would say probably 60% of comedians don't have more than 20 minutes of these new ones that's got these following.
Wow. Do you
But
respect?
comedy is changing.
Do you respect internet comedians? I mean, do you respect like
No.
the sort of, you know, sketch guys on YouTube or whatever?
I respect their creativity of making people laugh and bringing something different because we're in that different era. But as far as, you're not going to get a Bernie Mac anymore. You're not going to get an Ali Sadiq, who Ali Sadiq also is on the documentary speaking about Ronaldo. And you're not going to get old school storytellers that's telling stories. Now more comedians are more about talking about fame and talking about other people. Comedians used to tell stories about themselves and their upbringing. Now these comedians are concentrating on Donald Trump, Kanye, Kim Kardashian. They're talking about other people, which is not original material because everyone's doing that.
Right. That's true. I saw that you're from Chi-Town?
Chi-Town, born and raised, 82nd of Marshville, 95th and Troop, and I went to Homewood Boston.
Yes. So you're from this region, and you ended up going down to Atlanta. What was the difference in going from Chi-Town to Atlanta in terms of, you know, doing comedy up here versus doing it down there?
To be honest with you, in my time when I was doing comedy was in the 90s, in the late 90s, and let me tell you who when I was starting out. It was myself, Little Duval, Little Rail, Finesse Mitchell, and that was the crew. Leon Rogers, that was the crew. And we battling against each other because I went from Chicago to Atlanta. Chicago comedians can hold a crowd and hilarious. Atlanta comedians are funny, but it's a whole different type of flavor. There's some great comedians in Atlanta, but Chicago comedians can travel and go to any other state, like New York, California. A lot of these Atlanta comedians can't do that.
Well, wow, that's. I think about a lot of my favorite comedians. They are from Chi-Town. People like Michael Collier and people like that. So
Rodney Perry, Michael Collier, Marla Gibbs is from Chicago.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Marla Gibbs from Chicago.
Adele Gibbons.
Like I said, it's Adele Gibbons. It's Rodney Perry. Love me some Rodney Perry.
Yes.
It's just Robert Townsend from Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just a different flow. Like I said, they have more comedy clubs in Atlanta. You know, we take hole in the wall spots in Atlanta and we make them comedy clubs. That's what we're doing.
I heard that. I heard that. I see that you started a movie studio, M-Head Films, and you did a joint called Can't Get Right. What was that?
Oh, that was beautiful. We don't have enough time to tell that story, but I'll just put it in a nutshell. All the comedians that I grew up with, worked with, been on the road with, like Damon Williams was on the project. I loved it because I knew everyone's personality. So Rodney Perry is on the project. So they called me the director's comic because being a comedian, I know how to direct comedians to where we give them a little pattern, blueprint, and then we let them just be themselves so they can have a confidence level. Because it's not easy switching over from comedy to action. So Can't Get Right was a beautiful movie. Montel Jordan is also a producer. He allowed me to put 5 different songs on the soundtrack. And it's very great. It's on Tubi. Can't Get Right with an R-I-T-E. Please check it out. But it was incredible just doing a comedy movie of people that I grew up with for years. It was just a blessing to give them the opportunity. A lot of them, like Shorty, what my name is, from Atlanta, that was his first real movie being the lead. So it was very gratifying to see a lot of comedians who've never ever done a feature film before give them that opportunity, and that's something I'm really proud of.
I actually also see that you're working on a sketch series called Live and in Color. What's that about?
Yes, sir. Well, you're doing your homework. Look at you. Yeah, Charleston White, Rodney Terry, Tipsy Campbell, Coco Brown, Mayor Chris Thomas, Brian Hook, Carlos Miller, K-Dub. We got a lot of people, and we got some sketch with Rodney Terry being a blind Uber driver picking people up. And once he takes off, they don't realize he's blind.
Wow.
But it's so many things. I have, I'm going to say it right now. I have the rights to the Richard Pryor movie through his son, Richard Pryor Jr. I have the rights to the Red Fox movie, the Fred Berry movie. I also have the rights to the Johnny Guitar Watson movie. And I'm very ecstatic that we're going to turn the Ronaldo documentary into an actual feature film. Cat Williams is going to narrate the movie. And Kim Whitley, Sinbad, and Marla Gales are all going to be producers on the film.
Wow.
Jay.
Yeah, I was just about to go to Jay. I see a lot of your work is in theater and in the oppressed pedagogy. For you, is filmmaking about the message or is it about the art? I mean, I know it's a sort of a balance. To have the art there, but what is your process in balancing your political beliefs, your values with the art and trying to make the art something that people will want to consume itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I do as well with film as I do, because I started in the world of theater, got my undergrad in theater, and then realized that I was a filmmaker and went to Howard to get my MFA. And in knowing theater and knowing the minutia of like acting for the stage, and finding those pieces within it, as well as doing theater of the oppressed pedagogy for so long with my mentors, I realized that they're the same way that though society has rules, so do games. And I think allowing those games to be a part of not only your theater, but of your film, you create things that people want to see and want to understand more, which is really exciting for me. And in my time at Howard, I realized that I could use horror specifically. Like I'm a narrative filmmaker, usually in the horror and thriller genre now. And I realized that there's a lot of catharsis that's missing for Black folk in that genre, because horror, by nature of like Aristotle's poetics and all that stuff that you learn in school, is meant for catharsis, to experience something that otherwise can't be experienced. And I wanted to blend what I know of theater and what I love about film to make a space where, specifically for me, Black Southern folk get to be seen in their entirety in their stories. And I think that's what was so exciting for me about being able to make film.
Tell us about Hag, because I've been reading about Hag, and I really want to, I really want to see it, because it's rooted in Geechee Gullah culture, right?
Yeah, so I am born and raised in South Carolina. I'm a Gullah Geechee girl, so I was super intent on making this story. Honestly, it happened after my grandmother passed, and like she had been telling me the story about the Boo Hag and all that folklore growing up, and I realized, and that's something I say a lot when I'm talking about the film, that a lot of Southern tradition and Southern folklore is oral tradition, so it's not written down anywhere. And when we lose elders and we lose ancestors, we lose pieces of history, and there's not someone who's taking that to the next generation. So for me, it felt really vital and important to talk about the Boo Hag, so I took my take on it and made my proof of concept short, which is about a young woman who's pregnant with her first child. She's battling for her mental health against a hometown urban legend come to life, right? Mm-hmm. So being able to take that proof of concept, which we're hoping will be a feature, Lord willing, And using that to tell stories that more often than not don't get told was super important to me. I don't think when I talk to like my professors or even my producer, who is my best friend, they had never heard that story before. So even running this film around in festivals, which is still in a festival run right now, it actually ran at Gary last year. I was trying to get it back in again, so I'm in the documentary fellowship. And I've noticed that more often than not, people will contact me on social media and be like, "I've never heard of this before. Can you tell me more?" And I'm hoping I get to.
So, what exactly, like, what first drew you to filmmaking? Because somebody like yourself, you have a completely unique background in comparison to, like, most of the directors that we see. What told you in your mind, you know what, I can do this. I can do this just as good as they can or do this better than they can?
I love telling the stories because it's so specific and strange. I didn't want, so I have a theater undergrad, but I never wanted to act. I do not like being on stage. I do not need nobody looking at me. And I had to take an acting for the camera class, which is like just doubling it up. And I chose a monologue from one of my favorite films, Eve's Bayou. And so we do the monologue. We have to watch it back and talk about what works, what doesn't work. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I like being behind the camera. Like, I'm watching my classmates do their monologues, and I'm learning, okay, this is what you need to do. They need to move like this. It's about the detail. It's not about being loud. It's about being present. So I'm testing all these different pieces and parts of how film is different from theater. And randomly, one professor, he just tapped me and was like, "I know you write," because I was a playwright and a dramaturg before I was a filmmaker. He was like, "Write a script to me." And so I write this little short film, and there's someone else is supposed to direct it, and they dropped out. And he said, "Direct it." And I said, "Do what?" And I ended up falling in love immediately with the whole process. So from going from script to screen, the editing process, sitting in the editing bay all night, I would be up very late editing, and finding out what works and what doesn't work and what makes people lean into the screen. That was just exciting to me, and being able to take what I knew from theater and move it into film felt so natural to me, and I felt so much more at home in the film world.
Do you think being a trained actor and having that acting training makes you a better director?
1,000%. You should. I think the best thing that I gained from doing those acting classes and learning about learning the UTTA and learning the Meisner, learning the Stanislavski, learning all that theater training in undergrad is I know how to talk to actors. I know how to help them get to the place I want them to go. It has to be their idea. That's one thing I'm very firm in. So I don't tell actors to do things. I ask them questions like, what happens if so-and-so happens? And then the light bulb goes off in their head, and that allows them to get themselves into the story I'm trying to tell. So I think having a theater background, having an acting background gives you the space to talk to people in their language and allow them to do the work that they are trained to do.
Now, James, before we go to a break, I want you to tell us about Quad J Creative Group.
Oh, how did that come up?
Hey, you know,
He's doing his homework.
I do my homework. I do my homework.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Listen to the show. If anybody listens to the show, I talk about politics. I do my homework on everything.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Well, it's an all-in-one platform that I utilize for companies and businesses to only have to use one platform to log in to manage their website, emails, text messaging. I kind of got into the text area and jumped on AI early on because I want to make sure that our people, especially my two young daughters, have the opportunity to be on the ground level of something that's going to change the world crazily, you know. And so that's what Quad J Creative Group is, my company that allows me to work with different organizations, large, be it small, not-for-profits, and give them one tool that they only need to manage their entire business.
So how'd you get involved with the Gary International Black Film Festival?
Wow, let's see. I used to be an actor. Well, I should say I am an actor. Yeah.
Once an actor, always an actor.
Yeah, exactly. And I always watch TV, films, and things of that nature. And I'm not sure who I came across first that introduced me to the organization, but just to let you know that when I came back from Morehouse, Clem Allen, he was a councilman at large, police, and he's my first cousin, but I call him Uncle Clem. He said, now that you're back, you need to give back to your community. And so I always wanted to make sure that I was involved in some type of non-for-profit in the area. And I started out with the Sickle Cell Fun Run Walkathon, and worked with several organizations here in the city, as well as help with the logistics of the Miss USA pageant. And so as I've continued to, network and meet different people, I fell in love with the Gary International Black Film Festival and the committee. It's just like a family. We argue, we fight, we love each other, and it's just the most amazing group of people to work with. And so I just want to make sure that I've always do something in my community, especially when it comes to art, because I love the arts. I should do radio and things of that nature. So, it's just part of my passion and part of my my ministry is to learn about things and share that with other people so that they can have the opportunity to, because just why it's part of my ministry. You asked that the other gentleman a very important question. What was it like leaving Chicago and going to Atlanta? Being in Gary, we kind of are, lived in a very sheltered environment. And, this is how we think the world is when we live here. And I went down to Morehouse, and I didn't really want to go because it was all male and all African-American, and I thought it was going to be a lot like Gary. And when I got down there and I went into those classrooms and I saw those brothers become mathematicians, preachers, pastors, and things like that, and they were just everyday brothers that looked all kind of, wasn't nerdy, wasn't, cool. It was all kinds of brothers. And to see thousands of us that are trying to accomplish and make a difference in the world and to become better men, and not to allow society to, describe us, but to, claim our own destiny and describe ourselves. It was just one of those things that, coming here and working with the Black Film Festival and the city, it's just part of my passion, man. And so I don't know how I found him. I can't remember who I met first, but
I'm going to tell you how he got here. I did a paparazzi thing one year with the festival.
Okay.
Greg Gray brought you in to be one of the hosts on the red carpet. Remember?
Yeah. Okay.
And I had, various media from Atlanta, Indianapolis. I just wanted the filmmakers to come in and feel like they had a California experience. So you had all of that, hey, over here, come over here, do it. Yeah. So it was like, whoa. So he happened to be one of those hosts. He reminds you of Isaac Hayes. Those of you not looking at it.
Black Moses.
Black Moses all day
Yes,
long.
Black Moses.
So he has this presence about himself, so yeah. But that was one of the ways. But James and I, we've been working in the arts pretty much since you've been back here.
Yeah,
I remember, as co-founder of the West Side Theater Guild, you also came in. Co-founder, so he came in, like you said, Miss USA, Ben Clement, and Film Commission, and all of that. So we've been.
You were part of Miss USA? I actually sung at it one year.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was on the front cover of Chicago Tribune, the lower half, and they had a picture of me walking out of what was called the Beach Cafe. And I was on the phone, and was so many people around the country came, called me and said, man, you're in the front of the Chicago Tribune. I said, I am. I didn't kill anybody, did I? That was something positive. So I just was so excited about it.
And those were the days, that Miss USA at the time was under our current administration that was here in Gary also. So, we have a lot of history there. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And I just want to make mention, too, that for those who may be listening around the world, that this is virtual as well. So you don't have to be here in person. Just here again, go to giBFF.org or GaryBlackFilmFestival.org or the GaryInternationalBlackFilmFestival.com so that you can also participate and see what's going on virtually.
All right, folks. We got to go to another break. When we come back, they're going to wrap up. We got to wrap up. I know this hour has gone by so quickly.
I know.
I'm going to let all the guests give their final words. So please stay with us here on WLTH 1370 AM, 92.7 in the FM, WLTH Radio on Facebook, WLTH Radio on YouTube. Please stay with us. The Region's Choice, the People's Voice.